Okay, so like even though this video is basically gonna be like a 5 to 8 minute like Diluvian mechanism pack session, like Diluvian has blessed me, and low key, like what kind of man am I if I don't give back my blessings to my people? So basically, for this video, what I'm planning is one lucky person who is subscribed, likes the video, and comments will win you can win a legendary weapon of your choice that I have. I think I have all of them except for Flare Bloods and Railblade. So if you're interested in that, just leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah. I think I make this a tradition, probably like every 50 or so subs. So yeah, giveaways are a thing now. Lock in chat. Also, like, there's like a video here. So Diluvian Mechanism came out, and it's all anyone is really talking about. And I can't even lie, when I played it, I had fun. I could be like glass half empty and like chalk it up to just it being new content, but I genuinely enjoyed myself playing it with my guild. It's a reliable way to farm essentially every resource in the game, and it's kind of just like an upgraded version of Hell mode, which kind of like funny enough for like my issues with the game mode too. Those problems being that like Diluvian kind of just exists as a skeleton key or like a one size fits all to every problem in Deepwoken, and the other problem being that like no game dev like experience at all, but it just kind of seems like a lazy game mode. About 2 nights ago, I was running Diluvian with some friends, and like we agreed to split the loot 5 ways because fair is fair. And like even knowing that I was gonna split the loot 5 ways, the loot in Diluvian was so good that I walked away with a Crypt Blade, a Storm's Eye, 2 Idols of Yunshul, and a Sinner's Ash in one run. Not to mention like the armor. I also got some other cool stuff that run, like a full set of DVM rings and a 26 HP Iron Singer. Like, it's low-key crazy to think that in one run, I've gotten blessed with more relics than I've had in like the past like 3 months. I guess my point being that like Diluvian loot is very good, to the point where it's like almost too good. So good in fact that like I'm sitting here scratching my head trying to justify doing any other piece of PvE content in the game. Like let's just go down the list here. What does Duke have that Diluvian doesn't? His hammer, cool trade for it. Like you get 20 Storm's Eyes, trade one of your Storm's Eyes for it. Next you got Ferryman, and like I guess you could say Cerulean Knife and Ferryman's Coat. My counter to that is like I haven't seen a Cerulean Knife since verse 1, and like just make Prophet's Cloak and be normal like everyone else. Then there's like Permadon, which is like the saddest one, bro. Because back in verse 1, Permadon used to be the spot, bro. Ganking, loot, Permadon had everything. The one thing he had going for him in verse 1, which was gems, was taken from him by Hell mode. And now it's like the good loot that he had, like that people were like farming him for, like they just gave it to Diluvian. Like past like wave 30, bro, I'll open a chest and it won't even phase me because everything is just 3-star and like above 20 health. Like I'm at the point where I'm only fishing for like 23 and above. The overworld bosses are like pretty bad when it comes to like being dethroned by Diluvian, but I feel like it gets even worse when you go to layer 2. Chaser has Flare Bloods. Again, trade for them, easy. They're not like that expensive. And then there's like Bloodforged Crown, which like gives like an extremely niche talent and has pips on the level of Immortal Helm. Like I guess if you're really feeling for like for that drip, then like go ahead, but like you will not be seeing me farm Chaser. When you get to Etheron, it's even sadder because this man literally has nothing going for him, bro. The only like usable part about his layer doesn't even come from the man himself, bro. It's the medallions. And granted, medallions are useful. You can get stuff like enchant stones, dyes, Dawnwalker, and knowledge, which is just really essential to min-maxing your build. The funny thing is though that like the materials that are exclusive to medallions aren't that exclusive to medallions. Enchant stones can be obtained in other ways, and dyes can be found in the overworld. Even like grinding knowledge efficiently, which was like the only thing Etheron really had going for him for a second there, is now being taken away by Diluvian. Don't think I forgot about Hell mode too, bro. Like this game mode is literally the cooler Hell mode. Like Diluvian is just Hell mode, but instead of 100 really shitty chests, you get 10 really good ones. Well, like more than 10, but you get what I mean. And like when you really start to think about it, why would anyone ever do Hell mode? This game mode is basically just like Hell mode 2 Electric Boogaloo. Like it is literally Hell mode, but wave based and with layer 2 mobs and golems. I'm pretty like word on the street is that they made this game mode in 9 hours, which is it might sound like it, but it's not a bad thing at all. Like with the original Hell mode, Agamatsu made a video on it and it was like released in the game within 48 hours. And today it's remembered as like some of the hardest PvE content and just like overall just a positive experience for everyone who like attempted it. And like I feel like Diluvian can be the same thing if a few issues are addressed. Let's try to remember why like Hell Mode was so loved and like is now beloved. Hell Mode literally offered you the best stuff in the game. Like you had Diver's Light Plate, which was the best chest plate in the game. You could get Star Boots, gems, which were extremely sought after back then. You could get all this cool stuff. You could get a cripple, you could get a curve if you were lucky. But the problem was that like you were all one Sharko kick away from losing it all. There was difficulty and there was risk. With Diluvian, what you've essentially done is taken Hell Mode and just 10x the rewards and made it like 10 times easier. You could do 100 Hell Modes and never get a crit blade, and also just, you know, wipe. With Diluvian, curve starts dropping on wave 15 and crit starts dropping on wave 20. A competent PvE build can easily solo up to 30, maybe even higher. I would know because my friend did it while carrying 2 people. Those 2 people being a level 1 Supa and a level 1 Aquafina. Not to mention that at any point if the heat gets too much for you, you can just stop it. Like, you can't just stop your Hell Mode. When you look at the final rewards between the two, like it's even more like shocking. With Hell Mode, like at the end you get your Diver's Light Plate and like maybe some deep gems. With Diluvian, like you're walking out of there with at least 2 relics and a legendary weapon. Like the level of difficulty can like compared to like just loot obtained is kind of just shocking to me. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that like Diluvian, at least Diluvian like wave 50 isn't hard. It is, but it's hard for all the wrong reasons. I'm not being challenged by Diluvian wave 5 in any like way that makes me think. I'm running around spamming my mantras, M1ing and critting and hoping for the best. I guess like the only real skill to it is like coordinating with my team. Like I'm not learning new skills, I'm not learning new attack patterns, I'm just swinging my weapon. Which kind of sucks that that's where like we find ourselves in PvE like almost 2 years later. I don't know, like they introduced a lot of cool stuff like the modifiers, like the explosions and like not being able to use mantras and other stuff. And like they've shown that there's so many ways to create like non-artificial difficulty or ways to like create mechanics that the player have to like play around to overcome. And it kind of sucks that like the hardest part of what's meant to be the hardest challenge in the game is just like bullet sponge hell. It could have been like Duke, like when he's going to the depths and like it's an alternate boss fight because you know you send him to the depths and he's pissed. Or like a deep alternate version of Primadon that has like an alternate moveset. Like you could have made the content harder and like maybe like toss like a roguelike card system in there or something. I know it's like unemployed non-game dev doesn't know what he's talking about, but it's like I feel like they could have done like almost anything like different than this and it would have been like a more satisfying end product than what we got. To kind of find a conclusion, I feel like the Diluvian mechanism problem isn't really a problem with Diluvian mechanism. It's an identity problem with Deepwoken. Anyone still playing at this point knows that Deepwoken is kind of struggling to find its identity as a difficult game because it goes full throttle in a lot of the aspects of difficulty such as the permadeath, and then it goes really softball in others like just being able to stop the Diluvian mechanism whenever. Since like the advent of layer 2, we've kind of just seen a lot of like things that exist to like limit the negative consequences of bad player decision making. Mechanics such as like the light hook, but you would later see things such as enchants that were like previously like extremely sought after just become like extremely common because layer 2. And in my opinion, I feel like the Diluvian mechanism is kind of the layer 2ification of Hell Mode. And in that I'm saying it's just that it's a direct upgrade in terms of like gear, and there's just a big safety net to stop you from making mistakes. Again, not a game dev, but in my personal opinion, like in a game that prides itself as a difficult game, the hardest content in the game shouldn't just have training wheels. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for today. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, chat.